Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jenifer Jenkins. I am not wearing any makeup right now, and that can mean one of two things because I don't ever do anything without makeup. So if you ever, hop on YouTube and hit that play button and I'm sitting here with no makeup, it means that I'm either doing some skincare related, video, or in this case, I'm going to be putting on some makeup. We're going to do a little get ready with me. So grab your makeup. And, I'm just going to chit chat. I'm going to chit chat about stuff that I don't know why it's just been bothering me. Some stuff. I always read these comments under like any video that has to do with any of the Kardashians. And so I want to address some of those things just because they've been bothering me. But yeah, so we are going to work on these, downturned, sad little aging, hooded eyes. And don't get me wrong, because I love hooded eyes, actually. I've had hooded eyes my entire life. There's so many beautiful women and beautiful celebrities with hooded eyes also. And so it's one of the reasons why I've never, gotten eyelid surgery. Because as much as I complain about, my eyelids, you would think that I would already have gotten eyelid surgery. But my biggest fear is that I will end up with all this mobile eyelid space that I've never had before. And then I just would not look like myself. I feel like everybody that I've ever seen who has had that surgery done ends up with a bunch of visible mobile eyelid space, like this space between the lash line and the crease. And I've never had that. And I'm not saying that they don't look good. Some of them look absolutely beautiful, but to me, it would be too big of a change. And I would feel like I wasn't looking at myself, in the mirror. So my biggest thing is the outside corners. Like, I just wish that I could get that removed on both sides, and just have the outside corners of my eyelids still showing rather than this skin hanging over. So that's what I'm going to try to fix, with the makeup. But, one thing that I would consider, and I'm getting so sidetracked, like I haven't even started the video and I'm already getting so sidetracked, but I would definitely consider like a brow lift. And I don't know if I would want a brow lift that only lifts the outside corners. Like, I don't know, does that look okay? Or does that look too like surprised or Spock-like, But it does what I want, which is get that skin off of the outside corner. Now, the only other thing that I would consider is like just getting it all lifted. Like whenever I wear, which is so rare, but on the rare occasion that I have like a heavy towel on my head, and the reason I don't is because I don't want to stretch my skin. Like, that's one of the regrets that I have. All my life, whenever I was younger, I would put these giant towels on my head and put my whole makeup on with the towel on my head, just stretching my skin. But whenever I put it on now, let me see if I could do it. And everything comes up so evenly. I'm like, God, I feel like I just look sweeter and just, I don't know, like a more relaxed or more pleasant. And just because my eyelids on the outsides are showing, I just look nicer. And then when I let them go, it's like I look like I'm mad or sad or something like that. And so anyway, I am considering that, and I'm trying to talk my husband into it. Let's go ahead and jump in and let's see if I can fix that with some makeup. This is not really a tutorial. Like I said, grab your makeup, let's put on makeup together, and I'm just going to chit chat with you. But, I do the best that I can. I cannot use other people's techniques because my eyes are shaped differently and I don't have all the space that they do to do all the, fancy stuff. So I always stick with this certain technique or method of my own. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and jump in and let's put on some makeup. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on a little bit of powder concealer under my eyes just because I don't like the way that it looks with all this discoloration. And I'm going to be using the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. I have a little C and an I right there. I have to label my stuff because otherwise I'll have to look at the back and it's so tiny that I can't. And I have so many different colors. This one's porcelain. This one is, oh my God, what is it? Creamy ivory or something like that. And so I like to mix them and put it under my eyes. Now, I'm not going to be using any liquid concealer or liquid foundation today. I'm just going to be using like all powders because that's what I do day to day. I don't use a lot of liquids unless I'm going to be going out, and being out all night or something like that. So I like to mix the ivory and the porcelain, and that just kind of creates a perfect color just to kind of camouflage everything that I've got going on under there. So I just do it like this. And while I'm doing this, I'm just going to start talking. So And I'm not gonna be really precise because sometimes I might have some fallout and I end up wiping it with makeup wipes anyway. And so then I, have to start all over. But I'm just doing it right now just for y'all's sake and for my sake whenever I'm editing this video. But look how good this stuff works. Like, as you can see, I mean, it's already just getting rid of all that, discoloration. I should just go ahead and do my whole face. No, I'm not going to. Okay, before I go on, I did want to say, I'm going to be using these makeup brushes right here. I have not used them all. Some of them still have like packaging on them, but I picked these up off of Amazon and it says BS Mall. And y'all, they are so, so good. If you are in the market for some new makeup brushes and you don't want to spend a fortune, you should really consider these because they're so plush. And they're just really, really good. So that's what I'm gonna be using. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm gonna do is I don't like to use primer. Occasionally I will, like if I'm gonna be out like all day or something like that, but typically I don't like how primer makes my eyelids look. I feel like it makes them look more crepey and it makes them look more aged. It's almost like putting Elmer's glue, on my upper eyelids. When I do use eyelid primer, I use the Milani, and it's decent, but it's still, I don't know, I just still don't like the way that it looks. I have found that when I use these, and this is literally from the dollar store, and these are all kind of a shimmery look, it's just LA colors. I noticed that whenever I put this down kind of almost as a base, I don't go all the way up to my eyebrow, but I'll put it down as a base, it keeps my eyeshadow on like all day. And I just love it. And it looks like I've done something a little bit fancy with my eyeshadow application, even though I haven't. I'll show you in a minute. So anyway, I'm gonna use this color right here in the middle, and I'm just gonna put it almost up to my eyebrow. So what I wanted to talk about in this video is just, whenever I'm on like TikTok or Instagram or something, and people put up stuff about the Kardashians, so many people are so bothered by the Kardashians, and they're always saying that they are setting just unrealistic, beauty standards for society. And it really bothers me whenever I hear that, because first of all, when people do things to themselves to, improve upon their beauty, whether you are coloring your hair because you don't like your natural color and you think a different color will flatter you more. Or if you get braces or Invisalign because you are unhappy with your crooked smile. Or if you put on makeup, because you feel like you look prettier with makeup. Or if you get Botox or filler because you have experienced a lot of volume loss. Or if you don't like, etched in frown lines between your eyebrows. Everybody does things to themselves to try to improve upon their looks. And the Kardashians are no different. They're just doing for themselves what they think makes them look their best. The point that I'm trying to make is that, when people do things to improve upon their appearance, it's a personal choice. Most people aren't doing it for somebody else. I'm sure there are some people out there that do make, silly decisions like that based on what other people want them to do with their bodies. But most people do it because it makes them feel more confident and more beautiful in some way. Nor are people not doing things because of the way it might affect other people. Like if you were insecure about being small chested, like I was back in my, early 20s. And somebody said, here's $10,000, go get a boob job. You're not going to be like, I'm not going to do that because I'm afraid it's going to affect somebody else and make them insecure about the fact that I got a boob job. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to make decisions. I know I didn't. And nobody was encouraging me to get a boob job. My husband, I was with my husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time, we'd already been together for a year and a half. And he wasn't trying to encourage me to get a boob job at all. As a matter of fact, he loved me just the way that I was. And I was really, really small chested. But it made me feel insecure. I wanted to do it for me. He was making me feel completely loved and accepted and beautiful. But I didn't feel beautiful, you know, being as small chested as I was. And I wasn't going to not do it, you know, because I didn't want to make the next girl who was small chested. I wasn't going to not do it because I didn't want to make her feel bad. You know what I mean? People do things because it makes them feel beautiful about themselves. The Kardashians are no different. They're not out there trying to, hold on, I need to move on. I'm just gonna keep talking and then not put on makeup. So the next thing that I'm gonna do, like I said, this is just gonna kind of be a one eyeshadow look. This is the NYX Ultimate Edit. These are the colors, and I'm gonna use that, the almost darkest color, and I'm gonna do a one eyeshadow look. I'll show you how this goes. And so, you know, basically what I'm going to be trying to do is just all this skin that is covering my mobile eyelid. I want it to blend with my mobile eyelid because it'll kind of confuse the eye. At least I think so anyway. Okay, so where was I? I feel like everybody thinks that the Kardashians need to be responsible for everybody else's fragile egos. You know, like I said, they're not going to not make changes to their bodies because it might make somebody feel insecure, you know, about their bodies. They are not responsible for setting beauty standards. It's society. It's everybody watching them and becoming obsessed with them who is responsible for deciding that what they do or what they don't do is beautiful or not. You know, whenever they had, you know, and I know, you know, everybody's like, oh, I wish they wouldn't lie about, you know, the procedures that they've had. They have no obligation to tell you, nor does anybody. Nobody has any obligation. Just because you're famous, you don't have to tell everybody what you've done to your body. Who cares? Why do you need to know so much? And people are going to be like, oh, because, you know, they're setting unrealistic beauty standards. For who? For you? Get over it. And if it's about the children, if you're sitting there saying, you know, it's because of the unrealistic body standards that they're setting for the children, they're not responsible for your children. They're not responsible for helping them to, you know, have a good self-esteem or have self-confidence or understand that individuality is beautiful or to appreciate the body, you know, that they have. It's not the Kardashians' responsibility to raise, you know, anyone's child to know better than to let their self-esteem and their self-confidence hinge on what somebody else is doing in their life. Like I said, the Kardashians are not responsible for the beauty standards. You and me and everybody else who watches them, which I don't watch them ever. I think I might have seen one episode ever of theirs, but they're so talked about. But it's society who created the beauty standards based on the Kardashians' decision. I feel like nobody wants to take responsibility for why other people and the decisions that they make affect them so much. That's a you thing. I mean, if you are so affected by the Kardashians' bodies and their spending habits or their lies or whatever, you know, that's a you thing. And you need to work on that part of you, which is so affected by the things that other people do or say or, you know, any decisions that other people make other than yourself. But just because we made the Kardashians famous, because we did by tuning into every single thing that they do, like I said, just because we made them famous doesn't mean that they owe us honesty. It doesn't mean that they have to tell us every time they use a filter, which so many people out there use filters, but everybody comes down so hard on the Kardashians y'all are giving them way too much, not y'all, whenever I say that, I mean the people that get so angry. People that get so angry are giving them way too much power and way too much responsibility. And it's not their responsibility. And you are the one giving them the power. They don't have it on their own. Okay, I think I'm moving right along here, and I can tell, like whenever I look in my viewfinder especially, I definitely need to clean up the inside corners, and I want it to be actually a little bit darker on my mobile eyelid because I feel like like I said, it just kind of confuses the eye a little bit more. I feel like when you can see the separation, or if the darkness is out here. I did want to say, I have wide set eyes. I feel like most techniques are for people who have closer set eyes. So they do a lot of lightness in the middle and darker out here to pull everything out this way. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to look like a frog, or a fish or something like that, an alien. I want to keep my eyes kind of exactly where they are. And so I want to do a one eyeshadow look, bringing that color all the way in and out. But back to what I was saying, if a beautiful woman just existing out there in the world is affecting, your child so much that it's affecting their self-esteem, and it's affecting their self-worth and their self-confidence and, self-love and stuff like that, then those are conversations that you should be having, with your children, and people should be having with children in general, that, don't let other people's beauty or other people's success or whatever, don't let those things affect, they have no effect on your personal life. They shouldn't, it's okay. There's beauty in everyone. There's beauty in every body type. Not everybody out there can have a Kardashian body. If you are built very athletic, or if you have a rectangle shape, or if you have an apple shape, then no matter what you do to your body, you would have to do something so drastic with plastic surgery to try to achieve the hourglass or the pear shape that the Kardashians have. You're just not going to get it any other way. So instead, don't look to them for body inspiration. Look to people who have similar bodies to you for body inspiration, or for, how to dress your body to maybe make it look a little bit more, like their body, if that's the goal, but instead work with what you have, work with the body type that you have and how to accentuate it to look the most feminine, or the most, whatever is most appealing to you in the mirror. You know what I mean? I can already tell that I got some like eyeshadow underneath my eyes because it just looks darker, and I'm probably just going to wipe it in a little bit and then just reapply stuff. But the next thing that I'm going to do, and this is kind of funny. Now this is also a full coverage foundation powder foundation, and it's Infallible by L'Oreal. And this is a dark color. I just put a D on it so that I knew that it was the darkest that I have. I'll put it somewhere here on the screen, what color it is. But now I just kind of fill in that area up above the eyeshadow, and then I clean up some stuff on the inside, and then I might even clean up some stuff on the outside, just so it doesn't go from eyeshadow to skin. You know what I mean? It doesn't look so intense or something, or it's not blended. So this is just a fake way of just kind of blending it. So the reason that I say that those are conversations that should be had with children is because there is always going to be somebody out there that is more beautiful, that is more successful, that has a better body, that has a better life, that has a better car, that has a better everything. And those things cannot affect you so much. If they do, and if they are, then you need to start doing some, self-evaluations and try to figure out what it is that you love about yourself and work on those things. Stop comparing yourself, so much to others. Now, I think a certain level of comparison is actually very healthy, and it keeps us, it's just kind of a gauge for, our self-improvement and stuff like that. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with comparing yourself to other people. As a matter of fact, I think it's totally 100% human nature. But if you are letting it affect you so much that, every time you see a Kardashian video, you're going to post something negative about how unrealistic, the beauty standards are that they're setting for society, then yeah, you probably need to do some work on yourself. So as you can see, it looks a little bit more blended. I still feel, and this is just because of the sagging that's going on the outside corners, I still feel like it's so much darker, like right on the edges there. And I want it to be more dark right where the skin is covering. my mobile eyelid. So I usually go in, where is that little tiny, it's kind of a flat brush, here it is right here. I go in with something like this and I get really precise on top of it with that darkest color from the NYX. And yeah, just try to, you know, camouflage it a little bit more. And so that I feel, I don't know, I hope it's coming out, like I see it in my viewfinder, that it looks so much darker on the edges, and I don't want it to because I feel like it's going to drag my eyes down. So I want it to look darker here. Yeah, see, I feel like I just darkened that. It blends a little bit better already. Yep. Okay, that looks better. You see how this one now looks a little bit more lifted? This one still looks like this darkness on the edge is just dragging it down. Let's do that on this side. My stomach is making some funky noises right now. I think I just haven't eaten much. I have my nuts right here, but I'm not gonna sit there and eat while I try to put on makeup. That is so rude and so gross. I would die if somebody did that to me. Okay, so I definitely think that that looks a little bit better. Now I do kind of like to just make sure that I blend it. This is a BK Beauty brush. I love the BK Beauty brushes, of course, also. They're both very, very good. They're very similar, actually. Okay. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this liquid eyeliner, and this is black and it's waterproof, and I think it's Maybelline. Yep, it is. And I'm just going to put it in the outside corner of my eye. I'm actually going to almost draw like a little triangle that goes from here. I'm going to go this way, and then I'm going to go from the middle of my eye straight out. I'm not going to go past the crease because it's going to disappear anyway because my eyes are turned down. And so my goal is to kind of make it look like my eyelashes are more dense, you know, on the outside corners. I feel like it kind of almost gives like a little bit of a lift. And so that's what I'm going to do. I need to do it with this little magnifying mirror because otherwise I'll get it everywhere. So this is what I do. I start right about the middle of my eye where it starts to turn down, start, you know, my eye curve, whatever, the curve of my upper eyelash line starts to go down. And I almost go like straight out and a little bit up, just like that. I can go out a little bit further. And it dries pretty quick. I don't want to let my eye down because if I let it down too quick, then it'll just get on my skin up there. And then I start at the corner. I don't go all the way down to the very corner. I start like almost a little bit higher. Because then I feel like I'm just going to accentuate the downturned eyes again, you know? I've actually plucked a lot of my eyelashes on the outside corners of both eyes because they would hang straight down and they would get tangled with my bottom eyelashes. And it was so annoying. And whenever you do this, you can actually be kind of messy because once you put on your mascara, you are not gonna even notice at all that it's a little messy. Can you already see that it has kind of lifted this eye up, you know, quite a bit because it starts at the middle and it goes just straight out like that. And, you know, I just created a little triangle. I've been doing this for years. I don't do it all the time. But the first time that I showed this was years and years ago. Yep, already that looks so much better. Okay, let's do it to the other side. I did want to say you should also get waterproof if you're going to do this because otherwise there might be some transfer. If you've got, you know, really hooded eyes like I do, there might be some transfer and it's not going to look pretty. So this stuff dries so fast and it does not transfer, you know, if because it's waterproof. Okay, so now I have them both done and I think the triangles are kind of even. Y'all, another thing that I really like to do is I like to keep it really dark in my inside corners because I feel like that accentuates also the fact that one of my eyes is more hooded than the other. If they're lighter there, if they're lighter, I feel like it accentuates it more. If they're darker, I feel like it, you know, blurs it a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. So that's what I did. I think that that blurs it a little bit more. Now, you never look really nice until you have your eyebrows and your, you know, mascara on, of course. So I'm going to do my eyebrows real fast, and I'm going to use this lighter color. This is just an e.l.f. eyebrow. I'll link everything in my description box. And then I'm going to use this awesome brush from this little set that I just showed you from Amazon. And this is so quick and easy because they're already tattooed. So this is what I do. Like, it literally doesn't get easier than that. I don't like to go too low here because I feel like it drags my eyebrows down. So let's do the other one. Okay, does that look even? Let me go check. Okay, so now let's curl the eyelashes and put on some mascara because this is when everything starts coming together. Now, another comment that I feel like I always see on these videos, like if I'm scrolling through TikTok, and a lot of times they'll say like, yeah, if I had that kind of money, you know, and I could go to any plastic surgeon and I could have all my personal trainers and personal chefs, you know, I could look like that too. It's just, it all comes down to money. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It does not come down to money. You could have all the personal chefs in the world and they could make you food that you were supposed to eat in quantities that you were supposed to eat. But if you sneak away and you go through a drive-through and you eat junk, or you get up in the middle of the night and you're eating pizza and ice cream and eating, even if you're eating exactly what they cooked for you, but you're serving yourself 5 helpings instead of the helpings that they gave you, you're not going to keep the weight off. Having a personal chef doesn't necessarily make it easier for you to stay slim. Having discipline and making sacrifices is what keeps you slim. Same thing goes for having a personal trainer. It doesn't matter if you have a personal trainer, you still have to put in the work. You still have to do the exercises. You still have to have the discipline and stay consistent if you want to keep muscle tone. Having a personal trainer might, you know, you might have some sort of accountability or something like that, so it might keep you on track a little bit more, but you can do that for yourself. You know, you can't blame that. You can't say that, like, oh, if I had trainers and if I had a personal chef, then I would look just like them. No, you still have to put in the work. You still have to make the sacrifices. You still have to have the discipline. You still have to be consistent. They work hard for their bodies, even if they have had liposuction. Liposuction doesn't keep weight off forever. You can have gastric bypass surgery and still put the weight back on. You have to make the effort also, you know, to want to make those changes or want to have the body. And I feel like they do put in a lot of hard work. So yes, some things are more possible if you have like disposable, you know, income, but they're not impossible if you don't have disposable income. You know, there's this, I don't know if it's a quote or if I just heard somebody say it. I'm using Covergirl Exhibitionist. I love this mascara. It just really coats the eyelashes really nice. Anyway, what it says is, people will root for you and support you until you threaten or challenge their ego. And that statement is so true. And I feel like I see it a lot with, like when people get on a weight loss journey, and they really try to take control of their weight loss and their diet and their fitness and stuff like that. I see relationships ruined over stuff like that because at some point their success starts to threaten somebody else's ego. And it's so common. And I think one of the biggest reasons is because when people are unhappy people never look inward when there's a problem. You know, there's always somebody else to blame for their unhappiness. And when somebody else is doing well, you know, if the Kardashians are looking phenomenal and, you know, they're successful and they have all this disposable money and it's somehow making them feel bad about themselves, then it's the Kardashians that are to blame. You know, it's them for setting unrealistic beauty standards, or it's them because, you know, they're not being honest about plastic surgery. Like somehow their honesty about plastic surgery will make you feel better about yourself. Who cares? Who cares if they're lying about some people are born naturally gorgeous, but you can't let people's appearance or success affect you and make you unhappy and strip you of your happiness. If that is happening, and if the Kardashians affect you so much, then that is definitely a you thing. It's not, you cannot make them responsible for everything. And I'm not talking to you, you know, I'm talking to people out there that have said these things, because it really bothered me. I feel like I'm doing things so sloppily because I'm trying to have these conversations, and then, you know, occasionally I get worked up and stuff. I'm not even doing my mascara like I normally do it. I try to start at the base and go up, and instead I'm just like, you know, barely brushing the tops of my eyelashes. Okay, so now I'm going to put on just some powder foundation. Again, this is the Maybelline Superstay, and this is in the color, I think it's called Natural Beige. And I will put up a picture with the color that I'm using. Now I'm going to put this on as a base, and then I'll show you what I'm going to put on next. Now I did want to mention that if you hear, you know, some chattering going on in the background, look how good this covers. That's my son, Cross. He's home. He's been home. I picked him up 2 days ago. He was sick, and I brought him home from school. Today he's feeling so much better, which is why I'm making this video. But he does something called scripting. And as well, if you don't know, my son is autistic, and he is 13 years old. He does something called scripting. And scripting is when he will kind of memorize a part of a movie, or a part of a conversation, or parts of a tutorial, a gaming tutorial. He loves to game, a gaming tutorial that he watched, you know, on YouTube or something like that. And he will watch that, he will watch a small portion of like a movie. Let's just take a movie, for instance. He'll watch a small portion of that, and he'll rewatch it 200 times. He'll watch it over and over and over. Then later he will kind of almost rehearse it out loud. And if he gets even a little bit of the inflection wrong, and he knows that they said it differently, like in his head, he'll start all over. And he'll have the conversation, both sides of the conversation, until he gets it right. And sometimes it'll go on and on and on. And he's in his head a lot. Like sometimes we do have to kind of snap him out of it so that he can kind of join us in the real world, like especially at dinner time, like at the dinner table. We don't allow him to just continue to script like that, because he would love to. He loves scripting. I feel like he entertains himself, you know, all the time. And I love that. And I love hearing him, because I know he's doing okay, you know what I mean? Look how pretty this is. But, you know, obviously we can't just let him get in that habit, because then that's all he's going to do all day. And he doesn't do it at school. He knows better than to do it at school, which is why I think whenever he gets home from school, he just wants to script nonstop. He loves it. He loves doing it. But, you know, we're trying to prepare him for the real world where you can't do that. And it's kind of funny, because I have an internal dialogue that goes on in my head all day, every day, right? And most of us do. But we know better to keep it inside, and not just out loud be walking around the grocery store and saying out loud what's going on in our heads, you know what I mean? And so, but he doesn't, you know? And so, that's just something that's a little bit different that he does. And we do work on it, like I said, and he's pretty good about it in the right situations. Like he doesn't do it at church. He doesn't do it at school. He doesn't do it in certain situations, like at my daughter's choir concerts and stuff like that. But boy, the second he gets home, he just can't wait to do it. So, okay, so now I put on that powder foundation. Isn't it so pretty? Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put on this, and this is from Physicians Formula. It's got an SPF of 30, and it is, it's just a powder foundation. It's not a powder foundation, it's just a powder. It's almost like a bronzer to me. Like it has the look of a bronzer on my skin. I have to be careful with it, because one time I tried to use it just as a full coverage foundation, and you can't do it like that. That would be trying to use a bronzer as a full coverage foundation. It just kind of almost accentuates texture and stuff like that. So you kind of have to be careful with it. But I like to use it because it has an SPF, you know? And on the label, it says airbrushed something or other. And my God, it literally, especially on film and in pictures, it looks like you have a filter on. Look, watch. I mean, can't you tell already? But one of the things that I love most about it is that it does have an SPF of 30. And so I do, you know, since I don't typically like day to day apply sunscreen under my makeup, I like to find makeup that has sunscreen in it. And I know somebody's going to be like, oh, it's not the same protection, but to me, it is. Now, I do not typically wear blush. I never think that I look good in it. And I either go overboard or it just accentuates, you know, stuff, and I don't put it in the right places or something like that. And so I just avoid it altogether. Okay, I feel like I definitely need more mascara. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna put on is some lip liner and lipstick. This is the NYX, it's the Mauve. And then I'm gonna put on this, I think it's Maybelline Hot Vivid Lip Lacquer. And I don't remember what color it is, Tease. So I'm not gonna be able to talk while I put on lipstick and lip liner. So let me just do that really fast. Okay, I think I've got my lip liner on evenly. I always have to overdraw on this side because my lip slopes down like that on this side. My lips are just uneven. And so I think they look pretty even now. And then I put on this lip lacquer. Usually I put on a little bit of chapstick first. So I'm gonna do that. Y'all, I should know better than to ever wear a black top whenever I make. Every time I do and I'm editing, I'm like, get that hair off your chest or, you know, whatever. Okay, so this is the lip lacquer. It is so hard for me to find a color that is this light. Now, I always manipulate the color with my fingers because my lips are not even. If I just go, you know, like most people do and rub their lips together, I always get lipstick way up here on this side, but not on this side because this side is stronger. And so anyway, okay, so I don't remember where I was whenever I was talking about the Kardashians. I think I've got most of my makeup on. I think I'm gonna have to fix my lips a little bit. Why do they look so, they look really big to me right now. And I don't know why they do. Some mornings I just wake up. I feel like sometimes it's when I eat a lot of salt the night before, my lips really swell up. Okay, so this is the final look. And, you know, obviously this video was not about, you know, makeup or makeup application or anything like that. I just wanted to kind of chit chat and just get some stuff off my chest. But aside from the Kardashians, because I was obviously just using them as a reference, just because I see, you know, such negativity about them so often. But you should never allow the decisions that other people make and the things that they do, or the way that they look, or the way that they behave, or the way that they dress, or the way that they spend their money. You should never let those things affect you so much because they play no role in your personal life. You know, I was watching this TikTok the other day, and this woman, she was saying that, you know, she reads comments all the time, and they're things that people would never, ever fathom, you know, coming up and saying to her face, you know, and one of them was like, she was showing her house or something, and somebody said, oh my God, that picture is so, no, they said that rug is so ugly. And she was kind of interpreting, you know, that message, basically saying like, I cannot believe, like somebody thought that their opinion about her rug mattered so much that they had to leave it. And it's basically saying, I cannot believe that you would put something that I hate in your house. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, why is the rug that she puts in her house, because she finds it lovely, you know, obviously she wouldn't put it there otherwise. Why does that affect you so much that you have to leave a comment cutting down or ridiculing her rug in her house? I mean, it's so bizarre. One thing that I did want to say, especially if you're on the receiving end of, you know, the negativity, you know, those people that say the nastiest things, the ones that leave the meanest comments, the ones that come back to every video or comment, you know, something negative every time you post something, the ones that really pick your appearance apart, or pick your spending habits apart, or pick your marriage apart, pick your relationship with your children apart, pick the way that you behave, you know, apart. Those are the ones whose ego you are affecting the most. They're the ones who feel the most threatened and the most challenged by your mere existence. They are so affected by you that they feel so compelled to try to create some sort of disharmony or discord in your life because it will somehow make them feel better. If you see it, if you read it, they're hoping that it affects you in a certain way. And they're trying to affect you negatively, of course. They're not trying to be uplifting. They're not trying to be encouraging or empowering or anything like that, right? They're trying to tear you down. And it's because you affect them. Your mere existence affects their ego. And so you might get a little bit of pleasure in that. I mean, I don't necessarily get pleasure in it. I don't want anybody to be so negatively affected by, my existence. But when somebody is just really mean and vicious and malicious like that, it's hard sometimes to have nice and kind thoughts about them. But what I find most ironic is that trolls always call anybody who is on social media and who get any amount of attention, they always call them a narcissist. And the reality is that they themselves are the true narcissist, because if you don't have an opinion like theirs, if you don't spend money the way that they do, if you don't dress the way that they do, if you don't raise your kids the way that they do, if you don't behave the way that they do, then you are wrong and they are right. And the reason that they think that is because they are the narcissist. Nobody's decisions can possibly be as good as theirs because they're a narcissist, and they need you to know that. And if they leave comments and anybody agrees with them, they feel some sort of justification and validation in the thoughts that they have about you. And the funny part is that a true narcissist not only has those thoughts about you, but they also feel so compelled to write them down and type them out on social media for other people to read, hoping that other people would agree with them because they're so narcissistic that they think that that is some sort of justification for feeling the way that they do about you just because you exist. So anyway, that is all I have for you today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The makeup application was just something to be doing, while I was chit-chatting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you're having a fantastic weekend. It's Friday. I'm probably gonna have some sort of cocktail tonight. And I love this. It's called a whipped vodka, and I'll just mix it with one of my flavored waters, like water with water drops. And it's so good. And so anyway, that's probably what I'm going to be having tonight. And we might do some karaoke in the living room. We did that a couple weeks ago, me and my kids, and oh my gosh, we just had so much fun. We sang our hearts out, and it was just such a blast. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend, and hopefully I will see you back here next week.